Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the JBDC Virtual Biz Zone. My name is Sansia Campbell, and I'm so excited to be with you this morning because we are going to be learning about something that is, it would be normal for us since we're in the business of business and we want to, be involved in trade and so on. But we're going to be talking with someone from Jamaica's trade portal, and that's the Trade Board Limited. And I'm so excited to have Charissa Buckle joining us this morning, simply because she has a wealth of information. She is the Manager of Client Relations, Marketing and Research for the Jamaica Trade Information Portal. And for those of us who aren't aware of what that is, it is the one-stop point for all information related to import and export to and from Jamaica. And that is really, really important as we seek to, get our products out into international markets, as well as to get foreign products into Jamaica as well, because it is products that consumers definitely want to have, in their space as well. And so Ms. Buckle is going to be sharing with us along that line. She's also going to be sharing with us on the trade agreements that are in place that not only protect Jamaican exports, but also give us an idea of where it is that we can go with our products. What are some of the products that can leave our territories, our country rather, without any hassle and so on. And so she's going to be giving us all of that information this morning. Now, as is customary, we are going to be recording the session. So we ask that, if you know somebody that wanted to be part of the session but cannot be a part of it for one reason or another, they can always join us on our YouTube channel at JBDC Jamaica, and they will be able to get the information at a later point. We also want to invite you to join us on our social media platforms as well, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram at JBDC Jamaica. So I think I've said enough, and I'm going to allow Ms. Buckle to go into her presentation. Remember, if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat. Don't be afraid to raise your hand, because she will accommodate your questions. And we're all looking forward to this presentation with bated breath, Charissa. So it's over to you.
Thank you again, Ms. Campbell, and welcome everyone. I will start my presentation right now. So good morning again, everyone. I'll be looking at trade agreements and the Jamaica Trade Information Portal. But let's start first with trade agreements. So the Trade Board Limited is the organization that is the disseminator of trade-related information, as well as looking at rules of origin, administrative rules of origin, certifying authority on selected trade agreements that Jamaica is party to, verifying product analysis, and issuing of certificates of origin, which is COO. So trade agreements or preferential trade agreements. A governmental authority to certify products of origin is the Trade Board for preferential trade agreements. We analyze products and verify their working process to ensure that they conform to rules of origin, which is also known as ROO, and we issue COOs, which is certificates of origin, which accompanies the qualifying product to be granted duty concession, that is duty-free or reduction in duty. So preferential trade agreements that Jamaica is party to now is the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas that Trade Board has authority over, would be the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, Caribbean Basin Initiative, the Canada Caribbean Free Trade Agreement, CARICAN, General System of Preference, CARICOM Venezuela Trade and Investment Agreement, Caribbean Colombia Trade and Economic Technical Cooperation Agreement, CARICOM Dominica Republic Free Trade Agreement, Costa Rica Free Trade Agreement, Caribbean Cuba Trade and Economic Cooperation Agreement, CARIFORM European Union EU Economic Partnership Agreement, EPA, which Customs has authority over, as well as CARIFORUM, United Kingdom Economic Partnership Agreements. So these are the 11 trade agreements that Jamaica is party to, and the Trade Board Limited is custodian of 9, while the other 2, which is the EPA agreements, EU and UK, that is what Jamaica Customs have authority or custodianship over. So the administration of the rules of origin, trade agreements or trade arrangements, rules governing the trade agreements, certificates of origin for products that meet the qualifying requirements. So we have CARICOM. The multilateral free trade area is between the 13 member states and permits duty-free trade according to the set of rules of origin, which is Antigua, Barbados, Belize, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Suriname, and Trinidad and Tobago. Now, let's look at rules of origin. Rules of origin include the basic qualifying criteria: wholly produced, change in tariff classification, and value-added condition. At this time, I will stop to ask if there's any questions thus far. No? Okay, I'll continue. So these are we're going to look at the safeguards, and the safeguards are mechanisms that are built into ROOs that enable temporary derogation of normal requirements of rules of origin. And these are the products that can enter duty-free. Now you have tin akis and callaloo, you have water, you have ketchup, you have pepper sauces, you have rum, you have body lotion, you have seasoning, you have black castor oil, and you have crackers and biscuits. Now we're going to look at CBI, which is a one-way trade agreement between 24 Caribbean countries and United States. And that these 24 countries or states that are party to this agreement are Antigua and Barbuda, Aruba, Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, British Virgin Islands, Costa Rica, Dominica, Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Grenada, Guatemala, Guyana, Haiti, Honduras, Jamaica, Montserrat, and the Nether Antilles. Also, you have associates of this agreement, which is continued. You have Nicaragua, Panama, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Trinidad and Tobago, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So under this, you have 2 qualifying things, which is things that are products that are wholly produced and value-added conditions. And these are what can enter duty-free: baked goods, castor oil, pepper powder, and ketchup. The goods that are excluded from this is luggages, flat goods, leather and rubber, plastic gloves, footwear, disposable items, foot parts such as uppers, most textile and apparel, petroleum and petroleum-based products, canned tuna, watch parts. Now, let's talk about CARICOM. Now, this is a multilateral free trade area between 17 member states that permits free trade according to the set of rules of origin under it. And the member states of this agreement are Anguilla, Antigua, Bahamas, Bermuda, Belize, British Virgin Islands, Cayman Islands, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, and Trinidad and Tobago. Rules of origin under this agreement are done by 2 qualifying criteria: wholly produced and percentage value added. So wholly produced is meaning that products that are fully produced using local products. And percentage value added is when you import raw material to make your products, which would affect the value or the percentage of it being whether fully Jamaican or not, fully Jamaican produced or not. The goods that can enter duty-free under this agreement are rum, pepper sauce, body lotion, and ketchup. Now let's look at GSP. That is a general system of preference, and under this agreement is offered to many developing countries by a number of developed countries, including some of the former socialist bloc. It provides preferential market access by the way of granting duty concession on specific products according to the set of rules of origin. And these are the countries that provide general system of preference to developing countries like Jamaica, Australia, Belarus, Bulgaria, Canada, European Union, Hungary, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, Czech Republic, Russian Federation, and United States of America. And the rules of origin include a qualifying criteria of wholly produced and 35% value added, meaning 35% of the products that is being produced must be Jamaican, being using local ingredients. Now let's talk about the Caribbean Venezuela and trade and investment agreement. This is an agreement that CARICOM has with Venezuela, and this provides duty-free access of products included on the positive list. Now, under this criteria, you have 3 qualifying things as it relates to the rules of origin, which is wholly produced, change in tariff classification, and value added condition. Now, under the CARICOM Colombia Trade, Economic and Technical Cooperation, that is between Colombia and CARICOM, this provides duty-free access for products included on the positive list and which qualify according to the rules of origin. And under this, you have under the rules of origin for this agreement, it must be wholly produced. There must either be a change in the tariff classification code, and tariff classification codes are just identifiers as it relates to the products that we use within the global community or the global market. For example, sugar has a specific classification code, which can be broken down into 4, 6, 8, and 10 digits and value-added conditions. The CARICOM Colombia Trade, Economic and Technical Cooperation Agreement. This is an agreement between CARICOM and Colombia and provides duty-free access for products included in the positive list and which qualify under the rules of origin. And under this, you have 5 basic qualifying materials: wholly produced, change in tariff heading, change in sub-tariff heading, which I spoke about earlier or alluded to earlier, change of chapter, or value-added condition. Now you have the Caribbean Dominican Republic Free Trade Agreement. Now this agreement is between CARICOM and the Dominican Republic, and this provides duty-free access and preferential access for all products, with the exception of those included on the list of products subject to the most favored nation principal rate of duty. Now, under the WTO agreement, we have the most favorable nation principle, which would provide non-discriminatory policies to goods that are within the global community. However, under these preferential trade agreements, there is a level of discrimination. And under this Caribbean Dominican Republic Trade Agreement, it's speaking about the list of products that can qualify for duty-free access, but it's also subject to the principle under the WTO agreement. Now, let's look at the rules of origin as it relates to it. wholly produce, change of tariff heading, change of subheading, change of chapter, and value added conditions. Now let's look at the Costa Rica Free Trade Agreement. Grants reciprocal duty-free or preferential access to a wide range of products. Most Jamaican products and produce being exported to Costa Rica are eligible for duty-free access. I will also now stop at this time and ask if there's any more questions. Is there any questions as relates to the presentation thus far?
Yes. Coming back in for a second, there's one question in the chat, but I wanted to ask you to go back to the previous slide where you were talking about wholly produced goods and just explain, the rules of origin include 5 basic qualifying criteria for the trade agreement. So, so if a good is wholly produced, they should explain change of tariff heading, subheading, chapter, value added condition. What does that mean?
Okay, not a problem. So wholly produced, meaning all raw materials were sourced in Jamaica and produced in Jamaica. That is what it means by wholly produced. When they say value added conditions, meaning that you have imported some of your products to make the finished products. Change in tariff heading, meaning that your good may qualify under another tariff heading. So that's what they mean in change in tariff heading. And a tariff heading has a chapter. Now you have a change of tariff subheading. That is the broken down where you have a subchapter. So, or subheading. So for example, let's say I am making chicken. On the chicken, you have whole chicken. And then under that can be broken down into chicken parts like legs or breast. Or, for example, I thought it was chicken and it's not chicken anymore, but it's now pig or pork. That is a change in chapter.
Oh, got you.
Okay.
All right, the question in the chat, the products that you were listing earlier as duty-free, is that a final list or are they just examples? I hope I'm asking the question right.
No, those are just examples. Those are examples. And I will get into the Jamaica Trade Information Portal that gives you the tariff headings. And not only that, it does also provide you with the trade agreements itself as it relates to what Jamaica is party to for preferential trade.
All right.
But these are just examples as to what goods can enter the market.
Okay, there's another question that just popped up. You mentioned pepper sauce and ketchup. What about honey and preserves such as jams? Are these products acceptable for export to the countries on duty-free list?
Thank you for that question. Yes, it is. Like I said, this presentation is just giving you examples of what can qualify. It's not the full listing of what qualifies, but examples of what can qualify. Because under pepper sauces, you can make a honey pepper sauce and that still can qualify.
Okay, so and seasonings are included as well?
Pardon?
Seasoning.
Yes, seasonings are included as well.
All right, great. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, now we have the CARICOM Cuba Trade Agreement, Trade and Economic Cooperation Agreement. Now, this allows duty-free access for selected lists. Some of the items that qualify can be chemicals, alcoholic beverages, including rum, animal and vegetable oils, fats, bread, biscuits, bun, cocoa powder, and cocoa beans. Now, the agreements as it relates to Cuba, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, these are what we call developing countries preferential trade agreements or South-South trade agreements. The ones that I mentioned before, which are the Caribbean Basin Initiative, Canada Free Trade Agreements, and also the Economic Partnership Agreement. This is what we call North-South preferential trade agreement because that is between developed and developing countries, while these trade agreements are between developing countries. So you have two different types of trade agreements. You have North-South and South-South, which still gives you duty-free access for your goods. Now, the rules of origin or the basic criteria for rules of origin under this agreement is wholly produced, change of tariff heading, and value-added conditions. Now, the credit facility with the Exim Bank. Now, Exim Bank provides a Cuban line of credit for exporters. So this will assist you in your endeavors in export or agriculture. So it is used for export of agriculture and industrial chemicals, fertilizers, paints, varnishes, automotive finishes, window frames, scrap metal, hair care, leisure wear, and animal feed. And for the past 4 years, it's used mainly for export of agricultural products or agricultural chemicals, I should say rather. Now let's get into the CARIFORM EU EPA. Now this is a preferential trade agreement which is North-South as it's developed with developing countries. And this preferential trade arrangement, this is what customs has custodianship over. Now, these are the countries that provide, under the EU, that provide preferential access for CARIFORM countries, including Jamaica. And they are Austria, Belgium, Bulgaria, Croatia, Republic of Cyprus, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Ireland, Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, Netherlands, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Slovenia, Spain, and Sweden. Is there any other questions at this point? No? Okay, I will continue. And the recipients of these trade agreement, this EU CARIFORM agreement is Antigua, Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Dominica, Dominican Republic, Grenada, Guyana, Jamaica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Kitts, Suriname, and Trinidad and Tobago. Now, the COOs are issued by the Customs Agency, Jamaica Customs Agency, which I alluded to earlier. And the requirements of rules of origin are wholly produced, change in tariff heading, value-added conditions, product-specific rules, and direct consignment rule. Now, the Jamaica Customs Agency is an international and industrial liaison. At the Customs Agency, you have an international and industrial liaisons branch that deals with the CARIFORM EPA EU agreement, which can be reached by email address, phone number, or looking at the website itself. Now let's look at a product analysis form. Now the product analysis form is provided by the Trade Board and must be filled out by every manufacturer that is going to export their product. And this is a sample of this form. So in order for you to qualify for rules of origin and for these preferential trade agreements that we have just spoken about, you must fill out this product analysis form in order for us to issue a certificate of origin or a letter of origin. And this is just another sample of it. This is also a declaration form. This is how the certificate of origin form would look like as well. And these are the basic instructions and headings as it relates to it. This is also a manufacturer/exporter authorized signatory form that we ask our manufacturers to sign off on. Now, how do we issue?
Before you move on, Charissa, where can we access that form?
You can access the form at the Trade Board Limited's website, www.tradeboard.gov.jm. You can also send an email to info@tradeboard.gov.jm.
And is it fillable online, or do we have
No,
to?
it is. No, you'd have to come in for it. But we are working on an online form as it relates to product analysis.
Okay.
So then it can be fillable.
Okay. The other question, the list that you were referring to before, the EU list and then the CARICOM list, do those lists represent countries that Jamaicans can export to, Jamaican entrepreneurs can export to?
Yes, it does. So the listing that I provide for the EU, those are the countries under the EPA that you can export to.
And this is duty free?
Duty free.
All right. Just for clarity, what do you mean when you say duty free?
Duty free, no tax on your product. So your product should not be taxed. There shouldn't be any quotas or taxes as it relates to the exportation of your products. So you have two types of barriers. You have the physical barriers, which are the tariffs, and the preferential trade agreements cover duty-free access. So there shouldn't be any tariff on your products. And then you have non-tariff barriers, which are the technical barriers to trade, when traders or exporters do not understand or are not compliant with the measures put in place under the WTO or under a specific preferential trade agreement. For example, there may be a labeling requirement. And if I am, for example, exporting my castor oil and my labeling requirement does not match what is presented by the EU, your products can be turned back.
Okay, gotcha. And, excuse me, and when an entrepreneur is ready to export to any of these countries, they go through the trade board.
They go through to trade board to get their certificate of origin or letter of origin. But however, if they are going to export, they must be registered with JAMPRO. And they also must register their business with the Companies Office of Jamaica.
Right. Wonderful. All right. So I see a hand up. Well, let's get this question in the chat and then we'll go to the hand. Are there any restrictions in terms of volumes for export to those countries? The list that you showed before.
No, not to my knowledge, but you can also check the trade agreements itself. And we also provide information on the Jamaica Trade Information Portal as it relates to the trade agreements, sanitary and phytosanitary standards, and technical barriers to trade.
And so you're saying that we'll be able to access these trade agreements from the JTIP portal?
Yes, you can.
All right. And once persons go onto the trade board's website, they can access the portal from there.
Yes, you can as well.
Wonderful. All right.
And we also have our own website, which is www.jamaicatradeportal.gov.jm as well.
All right. David, can you type that in the chat for me, please? Go ahead. Go again with the website, please.
Sure.
JTIP.
JTIP. All right.
Yes.
So www.jamaicatradeportal.gov.jm.
All right. We're typing it in .gov.jm. We're typing it in the chat and we're going to paste it there for persons to see. Tracy Ann has her hand up with a question. We're going to unmute you, Tracy Ann, and you go ahead with the question.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Miss Mullins.
Good morning. I am fairly new. I'm just getting my product formalization by a chemist.
Right.
And would like to send overseas. I saw someone ask the question. It's the same question I wanted to ask in regards to the labeling.
Right.
The labeling requirements from EU. How can I get that?
Thank you for that question. And as I alluded to earlier, we have the Jamaica Trade Information Portal that gives you the technical barriers to trade entry point, which can also be found on the BSJ, which is the Bureau of Standards website. Because in order for your goods not to be turned back, you have to ensure that you're not only following the rules of origin, but you're also following the non-tariff barriers, which is the technical barriers to trade. So we ensure that you have to ensure that you're compliant. So the best way to do that is to check out the portal, and that would give you not only information about the trade agreement, but it also gives you information about the entry point.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Sharissa. You can continue. We'll check with you to see if there are any more questions.
Not a problem.
All right.
Okay, so when issuing a certificate of origin, we have to get a cover letter. You have to complete the product analysis form for each product, because there may be more than one product you may be sending or exporting. Copy of the CA87 form for imported raw material. Now you'd have to get that form from customs as relates to importation of raw material, because as we know, not every product that is being produced by Jamaica is wholly produced from locally sourced material. We have to import sometimes to have a finished or semi-finished product, which is understandable, but that is something you're going to have to declare. Copy of the commercial invoice for local raw materials, your TRN number, the manufacturer/exporter authorized signatory form, a JAMPRO letter as well. So these are the steps for you, the exporter, that need to take in order for us to issue the certificate of origin. Now, steps to export on a commercial basis. Step 1, visit the Doing Business Jamaica, which is the JAMPRO website. Now, after that, you complete the exporter's registration form and provide the relevant documents. And individuals, business, or companies can register. Now, this is valid for 1 year. Then you have to submit your documents to JAMPRO, and JAMPRO conducts a verification visit. So after step 1 is completed, you contact the Trade Board Limited, and then you submit a completed product analysis form to us. Now, I know sometimes this form can be cumbersome, and my colleagues within the export certification unit will assist you or guide you as you complete this form, because I know sometimes it can be a little bit tedious and we may not understand everything, and we are here to guide you, because the more persons export, the greater it will be for us in the long run as a country. And now after that, when it is accepted by TBL, we now conduct site visits. And during those site visits, we will ask what market you would like to be a part of. And we will also explain the other markets for your products as well. Then after it is approved now, we approve based on our site visits, your product is eligible for a certificate of origin. You now go to the JSwift website, you register with JSwift, select certificate, click new, and then after you click new, you submit it, and then you would get an electronic certificate of origin.
Sharissa, I'm interjecting again.
Sorry.
Because I want to ensure that persons understand before we leave here, at least understand a little bit more. Can you tell us about JSwift and what that does? What is it and what that does?
Not a problem. So JSwift is the Jamaica single window for trade. Now, it can be used for export and it can also be used for import. Individuals use it for importation of motor vehicles. or heavy machinery or equipment. And exporters use it to get the issuance of a certificate of origin. Now, after we have conducted the site visit, you would have to now register on the JSwift platform in order to get the issuance of your certificate of origin to the particular country you're exporting to.
Okay, thank you very much. I have another question here.
Sure, no problem.
Someone is asking if bottles that are used for packaging, if they are to be, the bottles come from abroad. So the person is wondering if those bottles have to be declared separately.
Declared separately. Well, if it is used to be filled a product, I don't think it needs to be declared separately.
Would that be the value added condition thing?
That would be the value added condition.
All right, great. Got you. All right, thank you. So Myrtle, you're fine. It would be that would fall under the value added condition element of the wholly produced good, right? Am I getting
no
it?
No. Wholly produced is what is produced and sourced locally.
Right.
Value added is something totally different. So what you're asking me, yes, it would be under the qualifying criteria for value added conditions, which is stipulated under some of these preferential trade arrangements.
Gotcha. All right, thank you.
Sure. And now we're going to move to the Jamaica Trade Information Portal. Now, the Jamaica Trade Information Portal, which was launched on May 16th, it's now May 16th, so we're celebrating 4 years of existence, is a comprehensive hub of regulatory information as relates to cross-border trade on a singly sourced, easily searchable platform. Now, with this information, you have the portal and you have the ministries and agencies that percolate. So we have 34 content providers as it relates to the trade portal that provides us with information as it relates to the relevant procedures and measures that you'd have to take in order to get your goods qualified. So it also provides you with an export guide as well. So you have the ministries, you have Jamaica Customs, you have the Trade Association, government agencies, port authorities, regulatory authorities, and Bureau of Standards. For example, I want to export coffee, and I don't know where to start, but I know that I have to go to a particular agency. I can go on the portal and type in coffee, and I would see the relevant documents as relates to coffee. So I would see the JACRA Act, and then I would see the license that I would need to export my coffee and the procedures it would take for me to do that, and also the relevant information I would need as well. I will also provide you with a demonstration video that will assist you in this manner.
Innovation is the vehicle that drives trade facilitation worldwide. And on the information highway, the Jamaican government has built a bridge to connect our local importers and exporters to their international counterparts. Welcome to the Jamaica Trade Information Portal, JTIP, JTIP. It provides access to important regulatory and procedural information you need to import and export goods across Jamaica's borders, all on a single, easy-to-use platform. To explore the Trade Information Portal, start with the homepage. The homepage features information on commodities, legal documents, measures, procedures, forms, trade agreements, guides to exports and imports, SPS, TBT inquiry points, and market intelligence information. The sidebar on the right features members area, advanced search options, news, publications, and other useful links. With the advanced options to trade information, you can look up commodities and their tariff rates, measures, standards, and their procedures. You can also download legal documents and forms for the products you're looking for. To find the complete list of all the commodities, click on List All on the Commodities and Tariff page. Expand the link for the details on the categories and subcategories of these commodities. To do a commodity-specific search, type in either the HS code or a keyword. To find legal documents, search using categories, document types, responsible or issuing agency. View, Save opens PDF versions of the legal documents. Find measures and standards for specific commodities using keywords, measure types, or agency name. Search for trade-related procedures using keyboards and get detailed guidance including names of the responsible agencies, legal base, a checklist of required documents, a process map with detailed instructions, relevant measures, and downloadable forms. You can also look up forms using keywords, agency names, or categories. The Trade Board Limited is the implementing agency of the Jamaica Trade Information Portal through the support of the Trade Facilitation Task Force, MICAF, and the World Bank Group. The Jamaica Trade Information Portal. Trade information at your fingertips.
Anybody has any questions? Okay. So at the export certification unit, we have the director, Ms. Joan Butler. We have Ms. Lorna Brissett, which is the export manager of export. We have Ms. Stacey Binns, which is the product analyst specialist. We have Ms. Traja Anderson, which is the administrator, and Mr. Dovev Williams, who is the rules of origin specialist that can also walk you through this process of exporting as well. You can also contact us at info@tradeboard.gov.jm. You can visit our website, www.tradeboard.gov.jm. And also you can visit our social media pages at the Trade Board Limited. Thank you. Is there any questions as relates to the presentation?
While we wait to see if any questions come into the chat, I want to say that I really got a lot of information this morning. I'm actually wondering, I don't think many of us knew that the Trade Board's website or the Trade Board had all of this information available. And it is something that entrepreneurs, whenever you are in business, it's important for you to do the research. Do the research because the information is out there and you just need to get the information that is necessary so that you can move forward with your business. I didn't know that there were preferential trade agreements. You know what I mean? So
yes,
there are agreements in place, and while the US and Canada and the UK may be large markets for Jamaican goods, there are these little nooks and crannies in these smaller countries that you can tap into and get value out of these countries. Tracy Ann has raised her hand again. So yes. Tracy, we're gonna unmute and you go ahead with your question or your comment.
Yes. What I want to know, is it the same thing for importing? For example, I would like to get some product in regards to like goat milk and stuff that I use for my skincare product.
Right.
And so I want to know if there's it's the same thing for the trading.
Trading, as in you mean the preferential trade arrangement?
For import, because I would like to get my bottle.
No, it would not.
That would be a different entity?
No, no, we don't deal, that would have to be customs as it relates to importing your goat milk. Okay. Because if you're importing, we specifically deal with motor vehicles as it relates to importing or heavy machinery.
Okay. Oh, like machine, like I would need like for my seeds, like my oil to process the oil, those type of stuff.
Those type of things, or tractors.
Okay, all right, thanks.
All right, another question for you, Charissa.
Right.
Someone is asking, what if I'm importing equipment and dietary supplements for sale? What is required?
Thank you for that. No, for machinery, dependent on the machinery, you would have to come through us. And for dietary supplements for sale, you would have to go through the Jamaica Customs Agency.
All right, wonderful. While we wait to see if any more questions come in, just want to read some of the comments.
Yes.
Elsa Willis says, I want to say a massive thank you for such a very informative session. Clement Golson, thank you for a most informative session. Dale, great information shared in this session. Thank you. And of course, you have 3 hand claps from Vivian Frankson because it was
Thank
really
you.
important information. As I said, it's so important. The JBDC Virtual Biz Zone, I believe, has been such a university for our entrepreneurs since
Yes.
since the pandemic, because
Right.
we have consistently held these sessions because we know the information is so important for our entrepreneurs to get. All right, so I have another hand up. Mitzi Gordon, Bert Green. Go ahead.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. Just for
Morning.
Miss, I think it's Tracian, as it relates to the imports for the manufacturer, you'll need to be registered with MIIC, Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, and to be able to benefit as a manufacturer from the import side of any relief. So you might want to contact, if you haven't already done so, MIIC, and as Ms. Buckley said, it is applied, therefore after applied by Jamaica Customs.
All right, great. Thank you for that, Mitzi. Really appreciate your input this morning. All right, so as we're about to wrap up, I just want to remind everyone that the session was recorded, is still recording, and you can always go on YouTube, search for @JBDC Jamaica, and you'll be able to find this and all the other sessions that we have done since April 2020. So tell your friends that if they want to binge watch some good sessions on entrepreneurship, how to operate in Jamaica, it's a great place for you to start. Any final comments from you before we go, Charissa?
Well, I thank you guys for this opportunity for presenting this information. Preferential trade agreements and small and medium-sized manufacturers have a special place in my heart. I believe more can be done, and I believe Jamaica's SMEs are the backbone of our economy, and I would just like to see more participation under these agreements because they're severely underutilized, and they are there, and I am happy that I can impart knowledge as it relates to these trade agreements in order to boost the amount of market access or penetration of these trade agreements.
Wonderful.
So I thank you for this session.
No problem. And just remind us of your website address again.
Sure. www.jamaicatradeportal.gov.jm.
Wonderful. And I also want to ask persons, I have placed in the chat our feedback form, and I'm asking you please to just leave some comments with us. I'm doing it again. Leave some comments with us so that we can know what your thoughts are on this morning's session and what are some other things that you'd like to see us include in future sessions. So Charissa, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining us as well. I noticed that there are persons still logging in as we are about to log out, and I just want to say again, visit YouTube and look for JBDC Jamaica. Click subscribe. By Friday, when this session goes up online, you will be able to access it. So thank you everybody, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you.